Hello and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. Pakistan has reported 111 new deaths from the coronavirus in the last 24 hours, the highest single-day surge of the second wave. The nationwide toll has risen to 9,668, while the World Health Organization confirms that the new strain of the coronavirus in Britain is much more infectious. Globally, the virus has claimed 1.7 million lives and infected more than 78 million people. The Pakistan Army says a soldier was martyred while responding to ceasefire violations by Indian troops along the line of control. In a statement, the Army's media wing says that Pakistan dealt heavy damage to Delhi's forces in the Satmal province. In Pakistan, security forces have killed a terrorist during an intelligence-based operation in Balochistan. The Pakistan Army's media wing says that a soldier was martyred in exchange of fire in the Arvan province. The cache of arms, ammunition, and communication equipment was also recovered from the hideout. United States President Donald Trump has pardoned former campaign manager Paul Manafort and ex-advisor Roger Stone. This sweeps away the most important convictions under the long-running Russia election probe. Trump also pardoned his son-in-law's father, Charles Kushner. They're among the 29 beneficiaries of Trump's latest clemency spree prior to his exit from the White House. And in football, AC Milan beat Lazio in a 5-goal thriller at San Siro to stay on top of the Serie A table. Ante Rublik and Hakan Çalhanoğlu scored inside 20 minutes to make the scoreline 2-0 in favor of Milan. Luis Alberto and Ciro Immobile put Lazio back on level before Theo Hernandez scored a 93rd minute winner for Milan. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. The World Health Organization confirms that the new strain in Britain is much more infectious. This comes as the global number of deaths by the virus has crossed 1.7 million infections with over 78 million. More on the coronavirus in this report.
The nearly year-long coronavirus pandemic has been full of gloomy statistics with millions of deaths. For the second day in a row, the US set a record for COVID-19 hospitalizations with over 119,000 positive patients. However, the ongoing inoculation programs are bringing an encouraging tide as more than 1 million Americans received their first shot of the vaccine. Mexico has also received its first batch of the Pfizer drug, which was escorted by the country's armed forces from Brussels, while Canada has become the second country to approve Moderna's vaccine.
This morning, we got the news that Health Canada has completed the review of the Moderna vaccine and found it to be safe and effective. Canada has an internationally recognized process of independent review, and I know that our best experts have upheld this highest standard.
Meanwhile, lorry drivers who tested negative for the virus had begun boarding ferries at the port of Dover after France reopened its borders with the UK. The new virus strain has also been reported in Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, 2 cases of a new, more transmissible COVID-19 variant linked to South Africa were identified in the UK. The worsening situation, coupled with Brexit uncertainty, has left people's lives hanging in London.
We were supposed to go to France, but we decided about a month ago to stay here because we knew that it would be too difficult. I think at the moment COVID, but in the long term I think Brexit's going to be worse because obviously we can't go back. We live very near to here, so King's Cross, so we can take the Eurostar very easily, but I think they're talking about visas and all of these things.
Elsewhere, South Korea's early coronavirus success has caused it to scramble to contain the new wave, while Australia has tightened quarantine requirements for airline crew, now requiring that they stay only at police-monitored facilities.
The new coronavirus has claimed 111 more lives in Pakistan over the past 24 hours. This is the highest single-day surge of the second wave. The country's death toll has risen to 9,668. The Health Ministry says 2,256 people tested positive for the virus overnight. It added there are just over 38,000 active cases in the country. Out of more than 465,000 countrywide cases, over 417,000 people have recovered. Meanwhile, the National Command Center of Operation says that the government is in contact with the world's leading vaccine manufacturers. In a statement, it said that it will soon make a decision about the vaccine availability at the earliest. The Pakistan Army says a soldier was martyred while responding to ceasefire violations by Indian troops along the line of control. In a statement, the Army's media wing says Pakistan dealt heavy damage to Delhi's forces in the Satwal sector. Earlier, Indian forces martyred a civilian and injured another 3 in a ceasefire breach along the LOC. Islamabad had summoned a senior Indian diplomat to register a protest. Indian forces have killed 28 civilians in over 3,000 ceasefire violations this year alone. In Pakistan, security forces have killed a terrorist during an intelligence-based operation in the southwestern part of Balochistan. The Pakistan Army's media wing says that a soldier was martyred in exchange of fire in the Arvan district. In a statement, the military's media wing, ISPR, said that the forces apprehended 1 terrorist. It added that a cache of arms, ammunition, and communication equipment was also recovered from the hideout. Earlier on the 22nd of December, security forces killed 10 terrorists in an operation in the same district. The United Kingdom and the European Union appear to close a clinching trade agreement. Officials from both sides confirmed that they are trying to resolve the fishing and level playing ground issues. United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson has briefed his cabinet on the progress research. The deal document is thought to be around 2,000 pages long. Both sides have until the 31st of December, when the United Kingdom leaves EU trading rules, to get it approved by parliamentarians. Meanwhile, London says Brussels will allow almost all food and plant exports from Britain to continue after Brexit. President Donald Trump has accused Iran of the attack on a U.S. embassy base in Iraq's capital city of Baghdad. In a tweet, Trump threatened to hold Iran responsible if any Americans are killed in the subsequent attacks. President Trump alleged that 3 rockets which failed to launch were from Iran. Responding to Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said putting citizens at risk abroad will not divert the attention from Trump's failures at home. Zarif also attached Trump's older tweets accusing former President Barack Obama of attacking Iran as a diversion. Meanwhile, the United States has also accused Iranian cyber actors of creating a website with death threats aimed at U.S. election officials. In a statement, FBI and the Homeland Security said Tehran aimed to undermine public confidence in the United States electoral process. Iran's United Nations mission spokesperson Ali Raza Miryusfi denied these allegations, saying Tehran itself was the largest victim of cyber attacks. China has slammed the United States for imposing unilateral sanctions on its companies. In a briefing, a foreign ministry spokesperson urged Washington to stop suppressing foreign companies by abusing state power. Zhao Lijian said that the undermining of Chinese companies does not serve American corporate interests. He warned that it will sabotage the global industrial supply and value chains. The spokesperson said that the United States was violating principles of market economy and fair competition by politicizing trade issues. Earlier, Washington announced that dozens of Chinese companies will be blocked from buying U.S. technology. United States President Donald Trump has pardoned former campaign manager Paul Manafort and ex-advisor Roger Stone. This sweeps away the most important convictions under the long-running Russian election probe. This report has more.
In his final days in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump has restored to a spree of clemency. Among 29 beneficiaries is Trump's son-in-law's father, Charles Kushner. He was convicted of tax evasion and making illegal campaign donations. 26 of them won full pardons, while another 3 received commutations. While Stone, Trump's long-term friend and advisor, welcomed his upgrade from a commutation to a full pardon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for giving me the offer. Thank you for saving my life, because I don't think at my age and in my medical condition I would have survived in a COVID-infested prison. The President has said on numerous occasions that he thought there was a good chance I could be exonerated. I agree with that. But this is a horrific nightmare when you realize that this investigation never had any legitimate or lawful beginning. It was a witch hunt.
Meanwhile, the UN says it is deeply concerned over Trump's pardon for 4 former government contractors. They were convicted in the 2007 Baghdad massacre that left more than a dozen Iraqi civilians dead. In a statement, UN Human Rights Office spokesperson Marta Hurtado said the pardons contributed to impunity.
United States President Donald Trump has vetoed the $740 billion annual defense policy bill. The move has potentially set up the first congressional override vote of his presidency. Trump objected to provisions that limit troop withdrawals and remove the names of Confederate leaders from military bases. He also slammed the bill for extending a liability shield to social media companies, calling the 4,500-page act unconstitutional. Trump said it was a gift to China and Russia. Congress is poised to consider votes to override the president's veto of the National Defense Authorization Act. If it does not override the veto, it will be the first time in 60 years that the NDAA does not become law. United States President Donald Trump has given national security awards to top aides for Arab-Israel deals. Trump awarded the medal to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and Senior Advisor Jared Kushner also received the awards. The Middle East envoy and the United States ambassadors to Israel and the United Arab Emirates were also among the recipients. In a statement, the White House said thanks to their efforts, the region has finally moved beyond old conflicts. Under the U.S.-brokered Abraham Accords, Israel has reached normalization deals with the UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. Morocco has urged the incoming U.S. administration to preserve the deal sealed by President Trump earlier this month. The United States agreed to recognize Moroccan sovereignty over the Western Sahara, and Rabat normalized ties with Tel Aviv. In an interview, Foreign Minister Nasser Bourita said Morocco thinks that the Biden government will find a good rationale to preserve the deal. He said that the next administration should continue a positive dynamic and nourish efforts for peace. Earlier, Morocco and Israeli officials signed several memorandums of understanding in Rabat. This has marked the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. In Ethiopia, gunmen have killed more than 100 people in an attack in the western Benishangul-Gumuz region. This is the latest in a series of deadly assaults in the area. In a statement, the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission said survivors had disturbing photo evidence of the violence. It said that the attack began in the pre-dawn hours on sleeping residents and continued until afternoon. The commission said at least 36 others injured were being treated for bullet and arrow wounds. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Police say a fire at a migrant center housing 1,200 people in northwestern Bosnia was probably set by refugees. They said that migrants were displeased at the temporary closure of Lipa camp. Police said that the fire, which destroyed 4 large tents at the Lipa camp, was extinguished quickly. No casualties were reported. The Lipa camp was set to be shut for winter refurbishing, but authorities have failed to find an alternative accommodation. It was set up as a temporary shelter during the summer to cope with the coronavirus pandemic. Diego Maradona's autopsy has revealed no signs of alcohol or narcotics consumption at the time of death. The 1986 World Cup winner died of a heart attack on the 25th of November, aged 60. The autopsy said Maradona had problems with his kidneys, heart, and lungs, and was taking 7 different medicines to treat depression, anxiety, and other ailments. The 1986 World Cup winner battled alcohol and drug addiction for much of his life. A judge last week ruled that Maradona's body cannot be exhumed or cremated in case DNA is needed at a later date to use in a paternity or other cases. In the United States, the state of California, a mural is being painted to honor the work carried out by frontline medical workers during the pandemic. The painting was commissioned by medical scrubs company Barku Uniforms and nonprofit Beautify Earth. More in this report.
A superhero doesn't necessarily wear a cape. Sometimes they come in scrubs and face masks, and COVID proved just that in 2020. In California, Samir Arkanwal, also known as street artist Samir Ewal, is painting a homage to frontline workers against the pandemic. He began the image on December 14th and plans to have it finished by January.
This is pretty much to honor all of the health care professionals that's been putting their lives on the line day in, day out for the last 10 months. That's been just a nightmare, and within that nightmare we try to find some sort of hope, and that's the title of this piece is You Bring Hope.
He will be working over the holidays, including Christmas days, to get the mural finished. He is keen to make their facial expressions as real as possible.
The expressions, because I can only imagine, the how exhausted they are, dealing with this day in, day out. So I kind of wanted to just capture the emotion of, like the one on the end. She's ready, she's prepared to go to war, helping people out, and you can see her putting on her thing, and her eyes, she knows she's going in, to war basically against COVID, and this guy is just really exhausted, but they're there, they're like, we're here for you.
The mural can be found at 2010 Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica.
Santa Claus gave his sleigh and reindeer a break and rode elephants in Thailand during a special Christmas visit aimed at raising awareness about the coronavirus. More in this report.
White bearded handlers in floppy hats and Santa outfits sat atop elephants decked out in tinsel and trunk masks in the central province of Ayutthaya. They distributed protective masks in baskets to school children, motorcyclists, and drivers passing by.
This year the difference is COVID-19, so the elephants cannot go into the school. We have to go out to see the elephants. So I'm a little bit excited and a little bit sad because elephants cannot go into the school.
The elephants have been paying year-end visits to schools in the area for 2 decades and normally give out gifts like candy and toys using their trunks. This year, they were social distancing, staying outside the schools, and used their trunks to offer the face masks in baskets instead.
These 4 elephants want to represent the Thai Santa Claus to encourage people to wear masks, wash their hands, and follow the government's instructions. This year, Thai elephants have suffered a lot from the pandemic, so if COVID-19 is gone, we will warmly welcome tourists back.
Thai authorities are urging extra caution after its worst outbreak was confirmed at the weekend at a seafood center near Bangkok.
Now, on this socially distanced Christmas, a hospital in Rome has decided to give children the most precious present at the moment to make them feel loved. Let's find out what the gift is in this report.
Italy's San Raffaele Pisana Hospital has tried to convey the real message of warmth and solidarity this Christmas by arranging a plastic meeting for its children. COVID-19 forces us to keep at least one distance from each other, to always wear a protective mask. And so I believe that in this very moment, the tent helps them to find that human warmth of which the Christmas is a symbol.
Hospital staff arranged plastic tents for the meetup, normally used in care homes for elderly people. They were then adjusted for the arms and legs of the children, even those using wheelchairs, and are sanitized after every meeting.
We got this idea by following the children who had expressed the desire to be able to hug their relatives they had not seen for a long time, such as grandparents, fathers, and also friends.
Italy has seen nearly 70,000 coronavirus fatalities since its outbreak emerged in February, the highest toll in Europe and the fifth highest in the world.
Shares in the Asia Pacific are trading mostly higher as investors react to possibilities of a post-Brexit trade deal soon. Seoul's Kospi is leading the gains, adding almost 1.5%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index has also gained marginally. Japan's Nikkei 225 and the Topix Index have risen by nearly 0.5%. Australia's ASX 200 has also edged up higherly fractionally, but mainland Chinese shares buck the trend, sliding under the flat line, with both the Shanghai Composite and Shenzhen Component shedding. In football, AC Milan beat Lazio in a 5-goal thriller at San Siro to stay on top of the Serie A table. The victory leaves them 1 point ahead of city rivals Inter Milan, who would have gone to top if Milan hadn't dropped points. Ante Rebic and Hakan Çalhanoğlu scored inside 20 minutes to make the scoreline 2-0 in favor of Milan. Luis Alberto and Ciro Immobile put Lazio back on level before Theo Hernandez scored a 93rd minute winner for Milan. Juventus have won Serie A in each of the past 9 seasons, but they are in 6th and 10 points behind Milan after losing 3-0 at home to Fiorentina on Tuesday. In football, Manchester United beat Everton 2-0 at Goodison Park in the Carabao Cup encounter. With this win, they have booked their place in the semi-finals where they face Manchester City. Edinson Cavani scored in the 88th minute for United before Anthony Martial sealed an injury time for the visitors. Earlier, Tottenham Hotspur beat Stoke City 3-1 to book their place in the last 4. Gareth Bale opened the scoring for Spurs in the 22nd minute before Jordan Thompson equalized it for Stoke. But the second half goals from Ben Davies and Harry Kane were enough to send Spurs to the semis, where they face Brentford. In cricket, England will fly to Sri Lanka for next month's Test series, despite flights from Britain being suspended due to a new variant in the COVID-19. They will fly on the chartered plane and undergo testing before departure and upon their arrival in Sri Lanka. England will then spend 10 days in biosecure bubble ahead of the first Test match in Galle. Sri Lanka's cricket board said England were satisfied with the arrangements. England's Test series against Sri Lanka was earlier postponed in March because of the pandemic. It's now time to take a look at the weather around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at Indus.News.